Uranium friends, you look as I look. So the ETFs, and I made a post on this, right? So we're starting to see a little bit of a volume ramp. URNJ is not. So, but URA, URA is doing good work on the daily here. This is a dinky pivot right here. It's meh to me, but it is a pivot. It is a higher low. So the level does become somewhat, important. Um, Anybody playing this bounce in the worst case scenario is playing off this bottom level here. What's that low? 2279. That's the deal. I'll say it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. We need to see the three ETFs working in concert to put some more faith in the sector that we have a true reversal here. And we've got a lot going on in the broads and the macros and all that stuff. So high beta sector, and it will be the first to take a beating and probably one of the last to start moving up. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. Anyway, that's the deal. So URA on the three ETFs looks the best as far as the moving average metrics are concerned. And you see we have the 5 EMA trying to cross back over out of a daily oversold bounce. And that's all this is a daily oversold bounce. So confirmation comes with some volume, and we don't really see it that much yet, other than this ramp up. I like to see these little ramps. URNM, same type of deal. A little bit of a ramp up here. Pretty good. URNJ does not have that ramp. These are moving average squeezes, and they're non-directional. We don't know, but things are getting tight, right? And if I was to draw, just as an example, I'm not the biggest trend line guy, but if you draw like these little whatevers, asymmetrical symmetrical triangles or whatever, things are tightening up. It's that simple. You'll see it here. You'll see it on all of them. Tightening up. Tightening up, right? Decent little, I would actually call this the better. Let me just, if I'm going to take URNM and actually do a trend line, it could be that, right? Just tightening up. That's what we're looking at, and we have the cap moves coming. So who knows? ASPI did something today. Oh, hold on. So real quick, sorry, the throat clearing. Dailies, starting with CCJ. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the weekly, it's a full blown bear flag here, and the monthly is going to show a bear flag as well. Well, not really. So the monthly is just an interesting place for it to be bouncing, by the way, on these anchored VWAPs right in the zone. So sideways chop in the zone for a while, maybe. Who knows? Caught this level. If this is the extent of CCJ's pullback, it's a fantastic monthly chart. All right. So, but we're looking at the dailies because we want to just zoom in on the action. Looks like URA, right? So the 512 EMA cross is occurring. I guess we have some pivots, right? Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. So not looking horrible in that respect, but these are low volume ramps. This is nothing special about this volume because it hasn't even been able to get after its 20-day move, 20 period moving average on the volume. That's this orange line right here. So, undercut on the VWAP, not horrible, not great. Sectors doing basically the same thing. Denison, just straight up sideways action in this value area, defined value area for the life of the stock. So, and it's in the higher part of it. So, again, it's like for CCJ, I mean, for Denison to come back down into this area, it would still be relatively healthy for the name. For the life of the name. I mean, this is the value area. It's in its value area. It's at the upper end of its value area, coming into the end of summer, bouncing off this Fibonacci retracement zone. Let me just see where it actually hit. Yeah, so 142, which I defined, I think, in a video before. 142 was such a key level for the life of the stock. So it's still there. It's still doing okay. Nothing wrong with Denison. Look at that monthly chart. It's really not that bad. And if you took a fib off this monster run, it's just 23% retracement, hasn't even gotten to it yet. And that is the definition of a great looking chart. So keep those things in mind as we go through this. Encore, right? So looks like Denison. They're all getting, even with the ETFs, they're all getting these EMA squeezes, and this is what is grinding, right? You'll love to see these little grinds. Love to see it start to just take this out. You get these volatile moves, and they don't get a chance to build support. These moves are getting a chance to build support. The problem with that is that if it breaks down below these lows again, there's going to be a lot of stops that get hit. I can pretty much guarantee it, regardless of what you think about the fundamentals. There will be a lot of stops that get hit. And this thing saved itself here. I said that if it took out 375 area, that 3 was in the cards. And 3 is in the cards still. It's working its way out. Not horrible. Not horrible at all. Not great. We'll look at global because we got a lot of glow boys. Yes, I took a little bit of global right at this price range. $1.03 is actually where I took it, and I took it maybe a day or two ago. I took a very small position, and much like the space, it's doing these EMA moves in a grinding fashion. So I like that better than this crossover. Look at this crossover. Builds no support as it makes that quick move into resistance, right? So this built some support into resistance, took it out, now it's using it as support. So these are good little signs. It doesn't mean that the global atomics out of the woods, right? Some sort of fundamental junta reversal in Niger or something, and China comes in or Russia comes in and steals the company. Well, the shareholders aren't going to be happy, but we can't game the fundamental stuff. We can only game what the charts are saying. So, this breakout back test, really good. All right. So, I would imagine if the right fundamental news comes out, some funding or whatever, it could make a good move. So it's worthy of a small speculative position, in my opinion, on global, and that's what I did. I have some levels here that I can work off of. I will probably add down in here. If it comes back down in here, I'll probably add. If I lose this level, I'm probably going to get out. But it's global, and it's harder for me to just set everything. And end of summer, I'm not barely paying attention to charts. Cap, big news coming from them. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Fundamental guys might know better than me, and I would admit that. But let's see what this space does after Kazatomprom says whatever they're going to say. But the chart does not look great, right? It's really just working its way down, just like everything else. Take a look at the weekly. Nothing special to glean here, and full-blown fib on this big run, and it's still just, I mean, this was a big retracement, by the way, for this. One could actually contend that, well, it's a 50% retracement. That's still exactly what it is. It's going to remain that way for now. That's what it did. And this is the life of the stock, really. So that's your Fibonacci's right there. Big value area down in here. That pays to watch that. That's the deal. We're looking at the dailies for the most part. And this is just now, while other, this is getting a bounce, but the bounce is weaker, right? So it's lost it again and it's starting to move on down. But we do have, it's built up a pretty good level to work off of, right? So you have a really tight situation here where decisions can be made pretty quickly, right? So if it breaks this level, and the technicians will be bearish. Breaks this level, technicians will start to be a little bit more bullish. It's just the way it is. Next gen is a much better looking bounce, right? You can make these comparisons. This is a great bounce. Next gen is a bit of a leader, right? Above its EMAs. Now its squeeze is happening uh, with a double EMA support here on the 5 and 12 with the cross, and the 26 EMA is acting as resistance. But again, these bounces look a little bit different than, let's say, well, next gen's a little bit harder to game, but you get these fast bounces, and then they can easily retrace and smoke the stops. This is a little bit different. It's building. This is building, in my opinion. That's what this thing is doing. And I like it, but I want to see a nice defined pivot on this one. Next gen, where's your defined pivot? There's your low, there's your high. I'm looking for a higher low, and there's plenty of room for it to happen here. So there will be a point where the daily consolidation is enough to create a pivot. Don't know where it is, but let's just say it's somewhere around here, and then we want to see that move. That's a good sign. We're coming into seasonality. You guys do what you want with that thought process. Sticking to the charts for now. UEC, same little grind. But again, the strength is shown. Relative strength can be shown with these moving averages. Technicians will call this all one move, but there are some dinky pivots in here that are just grinding it up, creating support. That's what we want to see. No support created here. Then we had good support get created here. Got a great move. Little pivot there, got a great move. Once this support line was lost, you could see stop runs hit and get smoked. So you get a good, these are things that you want to pay attention in your trading life, in your investing life, or whatever you do. You get a good set of supports and they can just break down completely. All right. Regardless of whatever news and fundamental things happened here, it's a stop run with continuation and follow through. Now we're just building up levels and some support here. So the grind is here. This is the super aggressive seasonality players in the space that are grinding through this late summer trading. And they're probably, and I've spoken about this in videos before, they're probably taking positions, cutting a piece, reloading, cutting a piece, reloading, cutting a piece. It's kind of what tactical sector players do, including myself. I am sort of doing the same thing. I'm just looking for a better pivot, to be honest with you. I'm trying to stay heavy cash, and I'm trying to hedge with VIX and shorting the Nasdaq when appropriate and stuff like that. All right, and maybe some puts on URA. It's basically what I'm doing. But you can see that the grind is happening here, creating supports on its way up. It's a good bounce. These are good bounces. URG a little bit different, but again, creating supports. This is what I like to see, right? You get the V shapes, they don't have support. So they can lose them really. V shape loses it. V shape loses it. It's just V shapes. You want to see these grinds. See how we get a grind up and we get a little bit of a support structure built, right? Comes back to test that support structure, holds it. You want to see support structures on the way up get built. This is why we like these sideways chops. You want things to leg. Leg one, sideways action, right? Leg two, sideways action. Leg three, sideways action. That's what you want to see. in any equity at any time. You know, the V shapes is when people are going to sell. If something moves too far, too fast, brings in the sellers, profit takers. This, you don't bring in the sellers or the profit takers. You bring in the grinders and the accumulators. This is how these things work. Charting in general. The 4Us, same little grind, right? Just grind, 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 grind. No established pivots yet. You can see my videos. I've posted them many, many times. Coming to the bottom of this value area becomes an auto buy for me, regardless of anything that's going on fundamentally in the sector, because I know I'm wrong if it breaks down. Okay, so far, once again, my auto buys are correct. Doesn't mean they're going to hold, right? But it definitely have established another little level sign line in the sand. Back test into this area, and I'm probably going to hit it again. But I will say I am smaller in size than I've been in the past. Let's look at some select names. So ASPI caught my attention because it had quite the day today, right? So I can kill this. I'm only going to kill this. A falling wedge with a bear break, right? So people just sit there and say it's a bullish falling wedge. No, it's a falling wedge. And falling wedges do tend to have bullish reactions. Not here. So here's where you see a bearish reaction to the falling wedge. But what did ASPI do? It followed the track of its value area. So you can define these things when you look at the life of a stock. Let's put it on the weekly. I'm going to take these things out. I want to take that out. I'll take this out. All right, those are out. So because it's noisy. You want to see these value areas, right? Big level here, coincides here, coincides with this bounce. Value area gets created. There's too much action in the life of the stock to say that this is not a value area. It's just that simple. That's what ASPI looks like. It had a great day today. I don't know what the news was. I don't know anything about that. Could just be a bounce, a regular bounce. But you know, when you get these straight up, let me just see what the 4-hour looks like. Yeah, I mean, you get it sometimes with it. So I don't consider it overly special. But it did, what did it do? Something very similar here. It took out the 12 EMA, used it as support for a day or two, lost it all. Okay, but that's a V-shaped recovery. Stops got run once this level broke, right? So you can start to see the same pattern emerging here. Got it starting to get its little V shape. You could see a second day tomorrow, quite possibly, that has a look like this because you know stocks behave in a similar fashion. That's what this has done, and all these are counter trend trading bounces. That's all it is now. Until the trend changes, and the trend has not changed. But good day for ASPI, 16%. Boss on the United States side had a good day today, right? 9.5%. Same look as a lot of the space, grinding, building a good base of support. Did it here too. Well-timed CEO selling out. Did it here too. Lost it. So if it loses this level, one could expect that you're going to get further downside, and then you start looking down into this area. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry to say. The uranium spot price is not doing well at all, so we have to see how that plays out. Um, Deep yellow, grinding, right? All grinding. A little bit more V shape, a little bit more V shape, right? Grinding, build support. I really like what I'm seeing. It doesn't mean it's going to hold, okay? But it gives me more and more confidence as each day goes on that this may end up being your flush spring type of deal in the sector in general. Want to see the grind, building a base of support. V shape, no good. Grind, build a base of support, accumulate. That's what I'm seeing. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just kind of what I'm seeing. Fishing, doing the same thing as the rest of the sector in an area that makes sense. I'm not really uh, interested in fishing, quite honestly, just because of the people that are backing it, quite honestly. The famous UTwit people that are backing this. Just that alone will keep me away from this stock. But I have traded it. I will admit that, and I will maybe catch runs on it. But there's bigger, much better fish in the sea as far as I'm concerned. We did global. I think that's going to be it for now. Let's just look at these stinkies, right? Say what you want about Nano. It has some great volatilities for great trading. But you got to be careful with this one because it can smoke you. The only good thing about it, well, there's a couple of good things about it, right? So if you look at Nano, now that I'm looking at this chart, if you look at Nano, okay, you want to start figuring out, we want to learn how to start defining value areas. Well, here you go. I can see it. I would assume you can see it as well as I'm pointing it out, right? We got a pretty good level here. Let's just take our rectangle and get our level. Now we've got a good level up here with this volume profile. Let's just see what happens when we get up there. Right, so I'm almost inclined to say that would be the value area. We want to see these things get tested and hold. You got a lot of tests here, rejections, supports, support, rejections, support, rejection. Once again, it got through it. Does it use it as support? We'll see. But the majority of the trading is going on inside this value area. So that's what I would be highlighting and keeping an eye on. It's just that simple. SMR, a little bit different, right? Let me just see what this, does this even have something like that? Yeah, SMR is wonky as wonky can be, right? So this is the $10 SPAC stuff. This is the great newsletter entry, and this is the great newsletter exit. This is the devil's entry. Somewhere up here was the devil's exit, and then this was the devil's short, and this was the devil's cover. Somewhere in here, I don't know. You have to track it, but whatever. SMR not as defined. A lot of V-shaped stuff going. I'd be a lot more inclined to be careful messing with this thing until it really starts to establish some true levels. Looks like it's going to be continuing going down to me. We'll see. That's SMR. I can't get a really true good read on this thing right now. I could probably individually do something on it, but let's look at this thing. All right, can't look at it on a daily. So the DYOR went off for me today as it broke down below 80. I'm not even going to start regurgitating how I said it was going to go to 80, or it was possible that it was going to 80, while all of your experts were saying 100 was the floor. Just whatever. This was just a technical analysis. Says the possibilities were for it to come back down. It did. Now the question becomes, because there's not a lot of support here. So gap fill, I would say, is going to happen. And then I would be thinking about what happens in this area here, 68 to 72, which I did post. Some other people were posting 65, 62. Yeah, maybe. I see some volume support starting to hit once it gets into this, 73 area. So there could be some support, some buying support here. We have some levels to work off of here, 72. So we'll see. Moving averages are still very stretched indeed. So commodities love to trend. When they trend, they continue to trend. They give you a defined definition of what their trend is. It's as clear can be. Monthly 12 EMA with the 200-day moving average. Been riding it since, let's just take it from here. April of 2018. It's losing it. That's all I'm saying. It's real, not losing it. It lost it. uh, I'll let the fundamental guys try to make their predictions on price floors, and then I will change my title and I will make fun of them again because that's what I do. Western people like this name. I don't disagree. Uh, it's just sideways. This thing has literally been sideways for a very long time. There's probably some fundamental guys that see a lot of value in it. I'll leave that to you guys, okay? But it's sideways for now, and it lost. It didn't lose this level yet, right? So this is not a breakdown. This is just a dip under. So we'll see. Let's just look at the daily. It's still look. When I say I look for pivots, and I said just like the other names, technical analysts can consider this all one move. Not anymore, right? So you have your pivot here. So there's a defined pivot. We take this path tool, low, high, new low, not set yet. We got to take out this high right here in order to say that that low is set. But the level has become important. So some inside bars, hesitant trading, waiting for Kazatomprom maybe. I don't know. Waiting for the ETFs, but this is a good higher low for now. It's not set, but it's a great level. We're hoping to get the next leg. That's all that's going on here. Such a good level that I would like to put my alert on it. All right, so that's a good level. I want my alert right there. I need a warning. That's my alert. Let's hope for the best. UROI doesn't trade well, in my opinion. Maybe it's a late cycle mover as a royalty company. I don't know. Not my favorite name, but not doing much. Looks more like Kazatomprom than anything else, right? So if you look at Kazatomprom on the daily, yeah, it kind of looks like Kazatomprom. So it's just not good looking charts as opposed to at least you look at CCJ. CCJ, much better looking chart, right? Just grinding its way up. Like to see that. LTBR had a great little pump and a great little dump. So, I mean, it did make some room for the higher low to be set, but it has not done that yet, right? So, put that there. All right. Let's just say low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I'm starting to get sideways here, so we'll see. Doesn't look great, but it's LTBR. It just gets its little pumps in and it's off the radar until it gets another pump again. It's just what it does. Aklo doesn't look great. Looks like his Kazatomprom chart, right? Nothing special here at the moment. A good falling wedge that took a bullish turn, right? So you play these falling wedges, you see what they do, you break out of them, you can get some money out of it. That's all it is, but this thing is moving down, right? So there's low, high, higher low, sideways action, lower low, lower high, lower low. Aklo, downtrend. U.UN, I cover this a lot. It did a breakdown here on this key level, and it's now acting as resistance. Makes some sense because the spot price is continuing in its downward trajectory. That's it, uranium friends. That was a you look as I look. See what Friday brings with Cap. Over and out.